In the last video, we were setting up a Telefrag system so that if anything teleported here, it would iterate through all of the AI, all of the players, and if there were any AI or players that happened to be in this volume and was not the object that teleported here, then they would get killed. And this was nice because you could just grab this whole thing and copy and paste it anywhere, and you could have multiple locations. But this system is not good if you have teams, because if your teammate is in the radius of this trigger, your teammate's going to die if you teleport there. And likewise, if you have AI that are on your team, the same thing would happen to them. So we could build all these filters and come up with a way to figure out what team the object is that teleports here, what team they belong to, and then run through all the players and all the AI, find out what team they are on, and if they're on different teams, then kill them. But that would be so many objects. And then if you took all of that and copied and pasted to 20 locations, your resources would blow up and you wouldn't have much of a map. So we're going to come up with a way to do that, and we're going to just make that mess of code. We're going to bundle it all up in one place, separate from all of this, so that you can copy and paste as many of these as you need and not worry about your resources. So the first thing is disconnecting all of this. We'll recycle that, but let's move it out of the way for now. The first thing is we're going to want to keep track of which volume is being teleported to. So if somebody teleports to this volume, let's change the name of this to Telefrag number 1. We need to keep track of that. So we're going to make a variable, an integer variable, and we'll call that Telefrag number. And since this is Telefrag number 1, we're going to set Telefrag number, we're going to set it to 1. So that'll keep track of that. Let me just rearrange here. Okay. And then what we want to do is call a custom event. And we'll signal it. We'll call it Telefrag event. Okay. Now the order that you place these is important. You have to make sure that you set the Telefrag number first, make that connection first, and then signal the Telefrag event second. And if you're unsure if you did that or not, you can always hover over the node that they connect to and enter logic chain mode. On PC, that's the key V. So I press V, it says I'm in logic chain mode, and then I press the left control button, and you can't see it because they're too close together. Let me spread it out. see the 1, set integer, 2, signal. So that's how you check the order of things. Okay, so then I'll just copy the custom event. And over here, this is where we'll keep all of our code. So notice here it says for the custom event, the activator is unchanged from the input signal. So I don't need to connect all the way over here. The activator, whatever it teleports here, whatever it is, it's going to be remembered and I can handle it over here. Okay, so we want to determine what team the object belongs to. So I'm going to make 4 Boolean variables. First one I'll call is team 1. Second one is team 2. Third one is team 3. And the fourth one is team 4. Okay, so when you trigger the custom event, the first thing we want to do is make sure that all these variables are reset. So we're going to set them all to false. So on signaled, set false. I'll just connect all of them. Okay, in case they were set true before, now every single one of them will be set false. The next thing we want to do is grab that teleportee cached object. So the activator, like before, like we had set before, we're going to cache the activator. Whoops. So actually, I just come out of this one. Unsignaled, we did that first. Second, we set the cached object, teleportee. Next we want to say if the activator is in team 1, set is team 1 to true. If the activator is in team 2, set is team 2 to true. If the activator is in 3, set is team 3 to true, and so on. So coming from here, off of the custom event, I'm going to connect to is team 1, set true. Will we set true? Oops, that's a Boolean filter. We need a team filter. If the team is team 1, so I'll uncheck the other ones, team 1 is checked, then set is team 1 to true. Coming off of a custom event again, is team 2, I set it true. Where'd my node go? There it is. But I set it to true only if, whoops, only if the activator belongs to team 2. Another signal to team 3, set true. Oops. Let me grab it. Okay. Only if the activator belongs to team 3. Did I set that one? Yeah. And another one. Set is team 4 to true, but only if the activator belongs to team 4. Okay. So now we have a way to keep track of the activator's team. The next thing we want to do is we want to signal a switch. So find switch. There's a switch. Signal a switch. And we signal the switch based on which volume, the Telefrag number. Okay. So since this is Telefrag number 1, it's set Telefrag number to the value 1. So we're signaling the switch, and we're going to say the first signal, which corresponds to Telefrag number being 1. Let's just say, let me just put a player proxy here. We have to make a placeholder. Kill player. Kill player. On signal, kill player. Okay, so we only want to kill a player if the player is in there. That's the same thing as this part here from the other video. What we're actually going to do is remove this connection. Okay, we're going to say on custom event signaled, run through a player iterator. And then for each player, signal the switch. And in between here and here, we're going to say, as long as that player is not the cached object. So I grab a cached object filter. I set it to teleport T and negate it. Okay, so let's just do a recap here. Something teleports here. It sets the Telefrag number to 1 because this is our first location. Then it signals the event. Over here is the event. On signaled, we set all of these Boolean variables to false to reset them. Then the activator is cached. And third, we went through and set the right Boolean to true depending on which team they were. The last signal coming out is going to run through a player iterator. So it's going to run through every player in the game. And if the player is not the cached object, is not the teleportee, signal the switch. The switch index is set to Telefrag number, which is 1 right now. So the first signal coming out of the switch will be signaled. And if, since we're running through every player, if that player happens to be in that volume, we set this trigger object to that volume, then kill the player. This doesn't take care of the teams yet. So we need to make a pretty complex filter, just one, and then we can add the filter right in here. So I go to variables, custom filter, we'll call this kill filter. And the way custom filters work is if you put you make a connection off of it. I'm hovering over it and I'm pressing G, so I have a line coming off. I make a connection to it. I'm going to say if not, so I negate it, if not team 1, and I come off of this one. If I come off of this one, it means and. So if not team 1, but the activator is, I change this to a variable, is team 1, then allow this to go through. So you have the volume filter. We're going to add the custom filter here. And we set that to kill filter. Okay, so we run through all the players. We signal the switch depending on which volume we're dealing with. That signal will be signaled. We only have one signal so far. And any of those players that happen to be in that volume, if they are not team 1, but the activator is team 1, then kill the player. So we took care of team 1. So I said before that if you chain them together, if you chain filters together, it's an and. But if I come off of here with a new chain, then it's an or. So if not team 1, but the activator is team 1, kill. Or if not team 2, and the activator is team 2, then we allow the signal. So I set is team 2. Or if whatever is in the volume is not team 3, but the activator is team 3, then kill. And finally, or if whatever's in the volume is not team 4, but the activator is team 4, then kill. Okay, and that's almost done. The problem is, if you had some kind of game where an AI teleported here and the AI was not a part of any team, which is the default for any AI, then this won't work, because you're saying for any player that's in the volume that is not the teleportee, if it was a demon with no team, obviously it's not going to apply. So we go to the filter now, and we say if not team 1, but the activator is team 1. And this one, if not team 2, but the activator is team 2, if the activator is team 3, if the activator is team 4, etc. Well, the activator doesn't belong to any of these teams, so the signal will never get passed through. So we need to make one more, and we say, or if, whoops, where am I? Or if the activator is not, so I negate it, is not team 1, and is not team 2, and is not team 3, and is not team 4. Okay. So teleportee was an AI who doesn't belong to any team. If it teleports, kill any player that's in there. It doesn't matter what I didn't add any team filters here because it doesn't matter what the team is of the player, since the AI doesn't belong to any team. And now we can take this and we can duplicate this for AI. So if you wanted to telefrag AI 2, like we did in the previous video, you just set up a AI iterator in the same spot, and you start an iteration for both of them, the player and the AI iterator. And then you say for each AI that is not the cached object, signal the switch and run through the filter and kill any players or kill any AI. Just like before. So all this is trash. So this is done. This is all the code that is needed. And this will run any number of these. You'd have to add on 2 more objects. 2 more objects for every one of these that you duplicate. So let me show you how that's done. I'm gonna duplicate this, and let's say this is all the way over here. Just pretend that it's another module. Okay, so on arrived here, we're going to call this volume telefrag number 2, and we're going to set the same variable, telefrag number. We're going to set it to value 2, and then signal the telefrag event. So over here, when the switch gets signaled, it's going to be signaled with an index of 2, because the index has been set to telefrag number. But we don't have a second signal yet. So we have to come out with a new signal, and we'll connect to the custom filter. But this time, let me move this one up. This time we add a Oops, that was a module filter. I need a volume filter. And in the settings of that, I go all the way back over here, I select Telefrag number 2. So it's the same setup, except this time it's going to check at all the players that are only in that volume. And let's just do it one more time. I select everything, copy it, and say this is another module. I rename the volume to Telefrag number 3. I set Telefrag number variable to 3. Come over here. I come out with the third signal, signal number 3. I connect to the custom filter. And then I add a volume filter in between that. Oops. Just trying to keep things neat. You can imagine if you had 20 teleport locations, this can get messy quick. Okay, so then I set that filter to Telefrag number 3. There you have it. You connect all these up to your teleporting system, however that may be, and your Telefrag system's all set up. So let's just really quick, I'm not going to place this, but let me copy this and look at the resources. 6.99 network, 5.17 objects, 4.61 memory. And I copy it. 7.59, 5.25, 4.77. It's really not that bad. For all this that this is doing, that's pretty good. The thing that's going to be important, like I said in the beginning, is making sure that the order of your connections is in the right order. And again, you go into logic chain mode, press Control to see the order. Another good idea is to do that at the switch to make sure that the signals match up with the triggers. You can hover over the switch, do the same thing, press V, Control, and you can see it says on signal 1, on signal 2. The third one says on signal 3, but you can't see it from here. And so there you have it. That's how you set up telefragging in a team environment. You can also reduce your object usage more. You could do something like this. Since this one is setting integer telefrag number, so is this one. So is this one. They're all setting the same variable. So I could really delete these. This one was setting 1, this one is set 2, and this one is set 3. And just connect these to 1. And I eliminated 2 objects. You could do the same thing with this custom event. They're all signaling the custom event. So I could bring these together. Delete these. No, actually I can delete those too. I come out of here on arrived, go right to signal, delete that, on arrived, signal, and delete that one. So I eliminated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no, yeah, 6 objects total, I think. Maybe 8. yeah, no, 6. So if you have 20 of them and you do that, you can eliminate, 20 times, however, what was it, 2 each? 2 objects for each location. 40 objects you can eliminate. The thing is you have to really decide if it's worth it, because if you can imagine, you have your map full, you have all your modules, you're gonna have all these strings of code all over the place. It could be a mess. So I don't recommend doing that until the very end. When everything else is done, go back and then do that. And then you'll free up your resources, and then maybe you can add some more objects to make your map different. But I wouldn't do that right from the beginning, because it's hard to maintain, and it becomes hard to see with all these lines all over the place. Also, let me grab, let me just, any node will do. I'll place that. Notice if I grab this and I pull it outside, it's red. Just because I can't place it here. It needs to be in a module. Well, let's say I add some module, and let's say I copy this. So I make a teleport location here with Telefrag, and I connect it up. On arrived, I set, well, I would set this to 4 because this would be the 4th location. And let's say I did all that work over there that I showed you before, and then I signal the custom event. Okay. So now I have this code in here. And then you're not done with your map yet, so you said, oh, you know what? I don't like this module. I'm going to delete it. So you remove it. Now those nodes are gone. You have code connecting to go to the volume 4, or to work with volume 4, but it doesn't exist anymore. That's one problem. The other problem is that when you do that, when you have code in a module and then you delete that module or move that module, sometimes what happens is, especially if you have a lot of code, anything that used to be connected to that, like this and this, can become corrupt because it thinks this should be connecting to something. Something happened when you deleted that module, and you can no longer select this node. It happens to be fine now when I did it, but when you have a lot of code and your resources are up there, and you go to delete a module with code in it, I can guarantee it will happen to you eventually. So just don't do that ever. So that's why I also say, like, reducing your resources is fine, but wait until the end, then do it. That way you won't be removing your modules, you won't be messing up your code in any way. And that's pretty much all I can say about that. And see you in the next video.